Hi, this video is part of a series in which I learn about programming a retro video game on the Commodore 64 in assembly. The code I'm using is from the game Supernatural, written by Georg Rottensteiner. You may also know the game as Guns and Ghosts. This is not a tutorial, just me learning game programming. Enjoy the video. Good afternoon. This time we're going to add some new pickups. We want our player to be invincible, and we want a fast reload. So those are the main things that are going to be added. There are some small things we'll just run past, but the introduction of the new pickups is important, and also right now when you kill an enemy, we always get a pickup. That's changed. We want it random, so when you kill an enemy you may or may not get an object, a pickup. So let's first look at what these tiles look like. This is the tiler. It may be a little bit small for you, but please note that these are not the colors that are used. I just don't know exactly how to set this up to match the actual look in the game, but you will get a feel for what the pickups look like. This sort of a flashy thing. Note that these are 4 characters. You can see in the character set we have some new characters starting from 16 to 23. You can go to tiles and make a little tile set that combines 4 characters together, and go to your test bed and see what they look like. So 2 pickups. One is this flashy sign, which is fast reload, which will cause your reload time to be cut in half. And this little Superman sign makes you invincible for a short amount of time. So we'll have to, for the reload time, we'll just have to speed something up. Because now we're counting. We'll look at it in detail, but we're counting up to a certain value before you can say, okay, it's okay to reload. Because remember, in this game you have to stand still to reload. So we measure the time, basically how long you stand still before there is a reload. We just shorten that time. The invincibility is a state, so we have to check. When we pick this up, we just set a state like I am invincible, and then when checking collisions, we just have to cut out of the collision detect routine for when the player is hit. So these are the characters. I'm going to make that disappear. Welcome also to version, let's see, 5.8 of C64 Studio. I think I'm one of the few people working with this IDE. I know that there are other IDEs, and I have used them in the past, but because Georg used this code to using this IDE, I thought it only makes sense to use this one. So, but we keep getting new versions, and each version has little tweaks and improvements that actually make sense. So that's it's very nice. 5.8. You won't notice much of those changes, though. I may point one out, one or two. One of the well, let's just have a look at the data as we always do. I've scrolled down to the bottom, and I will show you. I'm scrolling up right now to where the changes are. They are right here. We have some new some new characters. This is just the new characters that I've just shown you. So their colors, their upper left character and upper left color, and all the way around. So they've been added, so we can reference them. Is there anything else? Yes, there is, because we also have, scrolling up, still at the end of the code where all the data is being kept. Oh, here we are. No. What's 5.1? Player. There we go. We have player invincible and player fast reload, both just a byte. So 0 is no fast reload and 0 is no invincible. So we are vincible, and when there is a value in there, we are invincible and we have fast reload. Probably we'll be setting a value in there that will count down to 0, and then the effect is gone. That would seem like the most logical thing to do. Okay, let's go to the top of the code where remember in one of the previous videos I noticed that there was a whole lot of double constants which have been removed now. So not that that is a real bug, but it's just unnecessary code. Okay, let's see. Oh, we have to introduce the new items. So how do we introduce new items? We have the shapes loaded. All we need to do is be able to reference them. So we introduce a new constant, item fast reload, which will have value 2, and item invincible will be item 3. So these are the pickups, yeah, that we are going to have to pick up. Yeah, we start again at level 0 in this version, and of course we have to, if I go to 440, there's another nice feature that I'd like to show you in this IDE, which has helped me a few times already. This is right before the game starts. You can tell here that I am in the title screen zone, and I can see all of the sub functions that we have in the title screen zone, and I am in title screen restart, right? And in title screen restart, we have to set the player fast reload to 0 and make ourselves vincible by setting our invincible value to 0. And also we reset the sprite state, which hadn't been done before. These values, let's see where that is. Oh, we have to do that as well. Refill shell image. Let's see, where is this? Oh, dead control. Right. After we've died, we have to reset them as well. We shouldn't forget that when we die, we have to, so we go to dead control, and when we're dead, basically dead control also revives us, right? So at the end of the revival session, we have to reset all our values as well. See if I can find them quickly. Oh, there we go. See, this is basically the same code. So we just set the fast reload. We make our invincible value 0, and the sprite state. Sprite state says something about basically how we feel. But we'll see how that works as well. Let's make this interesting. Let's go to check collisions, because that's where we have to. Oh, check collisions wasn't a zone, was it? Was it here? No. Oh, there we go. Check collisions. There we go. Check collisions. See, this is still a double mention of that label. it comes down to the same address. So see, on the left side we now have the address where this code will be after the assembly phase. This will be the number of cycles that this command will take, and then the next column will be the number of bytes that... Oh, wait a minute. No, the first column is the number of bytes. The second column is the number of cycles that command will likely take, depending on the state the CPU is in. Blah. Anyway, check collisions. We can do this right at the start. This piece of code, of course, first we have to check whether the sprite that we're checking collisions for is actually active. That is not new. That was already in there. We now have to, we at least know that the player is alive. Then we check its state. Now, we're going to use the state to see whether or not the player is vulnerable. We're going to use the value of invincibility to count down, right? So when it's 0, we change this the sprite state. So what we're doing here is that if the value of the sprite state is a table, the first element in that table is for the player. We check it for the value 128. If it's lower than that, then we are vulnerable. So we are basically invincible. And then is vulnerable is basically just the rest of the code. Otherwise, we simply jump out. So there is no check collisions. So it works very quickly. We don't do anything. If we're invincible, we're invincible, and we can't be hit by anything. So it's a very simple implementation. Now all that we have to take care of is that we set the value at the correct moment. And that's when we do a pickup. So player control. Let's go to player control. That's the next stop in this player control. Okay. We do something with our look, because while we are invincible, we would like to make ourselves flash a little bit. So when we check player movement, we check whether to see we are invincible, yes or no. If it's equal to 0, then we're not invincible and everything just works the way it did. Otherwise, we start increasing our sprite color, and this is for the player sprite. So this immediately changes our color. So we just start flashing all the colors that the Commodore 64 has, which is not a lot, but it's something to tell the player that we're invincible. It's still a little difficult. I've played it, and it's difficult to judge how long you are invincible. So you don't know whether or not you can take any risks. So that sort of defeats the purpose of being invincible. Because you think, oh, I can just get close to this enemy, and then all of a sudden, boom, the invincibility stops. And so there's no actual visual clue yet. So we may have to introduce that later, or we have some sort of counter. But now it's just a certain time that you don't know how long, and you can only tell whether you're invincible by looking at the flashing. So we simply increase the color, and increasing the color will take it from 0 to 255. There aren't that many colors, but the Commodore will make something of it, and it'll just keep looping the value back to 0, and so on. We decrease the player invincible, so we have to remember to set it to a number. We decrease the value. If it's not 0, then we're not invincible. This is kind of weird, because actually we are, but we need a label to jump to, and this is the most logical one. Anyway, we decrease it. As soon as this value is 0, that we are invincible again. We set the sprite state to 0, so we reset the state, and we reset the color, and we go on with the code. This should be called continue or something. But anyway, we needed something, so that's what it is. So very simply put, we decrease the player invincibility counter, and we increase the color. And when the party's over, we just reset everything to standard. That's as simple as it gets. Let's look at the fast reload. Also in the same last item reached. Let's see, last item reached. Do I have that here? Last item reached. There we go. Okay, so this is a longer function. So I'm trying to. So what happens is basically we check the joystick for movement. If we've moved, then there is no reload. So the reload works like this: is that when you stand still, we count up to 40, and as soon as we are at 40, we reload. Yeah. Otherwise, we can just go on with the code and handle all the firing. But we have to stand still for the reload to work. So, player moved. If we wiggle the joystick or press something, then player moved. So we jump to play. Otherwise, we load the shot, pause. If it is not equal to 0, then there was another reason why the shot pause is the recoil. So after you've shot, you can't shoot again. So the shot pause goes up, and that counts down. So we have to check for that. So reloading only starts after the recoil is done. So then we check if we have fast reload. If we have no fast reload, we just increase the player standstill time and compare it to 40. If we do have fast reload, we decrease the player fast reload time, so that we've picked something up that says, okay, we have fast reload for a while. That counter decreases, and we increase the player standstill time twice. So that is the doubling of the reload time. So we reach 40 twice as fast, and that is noticeable because you can actually see the guy, our player, reloading quicker. So again, a very, very simple implementation. There was a small bug here. This said branch not equal, so it was checking for actual 40. We sort of made it branch minus so that it's a little, if it's 41 or 42, it'll also work. Otherwise we might miss it, and it'll keep reloading. Nah, it'll just mess up. Okay, so now what happens when we pick up an item? Because that's where we have to set those values. We have to go to the zone pick item. This is new, right? This picking where you go in the code is very powerful. I'd still like to have a function in the IDE that'll let me jump to a line number, because I still have meld on my other screen. This just compares the previous code to the new code, and that will give me a line number to jump to. But I have in the IDE, I don't have a way of jumping to a line number, not that I know of. I've sent Georg a message, so hopefully in 5.8a there will be a go to line number function. Anyway. These are the items we pick up an item, and that is an item number, and we have to check for the fast reload item and the item invincible, and then we have to handle them, affect fast reload and affect invincible. So those let's do them and of course they're very very simple. Effect fast reload. We just load the value 200 in player fast reload, and then we go on to remove the item because we picked it up. But that's it, right? We've already done all the rest. Like in player control, we're just checking for this value and decreasing it, and we're handling what happens when it reaches 0 and all that. So all we have to do is set the value, and that's what we do here. Invincible, we have to do two things. We have to set the time that the player will be invincible, and we also have to set the sprite state. So we cannot use just one value. We have to use the sprite state. Although I think we could have probably just checked that. I don't know. Maybe. Probably. Anyway, we have the sprite state mechanic, so we can use that. And that's it. So when you picked an item, all you do is that, and the rest of the code handles all of the rest. Oh, right. Let's do this. Enemy hit. Where is this? Fire shot. Right. The respawning, the random respawning, which I mentioned. Handle shot. Did I say that? Enemy shot. Where are you? No. Was it fire shot? Fire shot. My memory. Crikey. Fire shot. There we go. Scrolling down through that function. There we go. Right. Used to be that when you the mechanic of the fire shot is that you shoot and you have to check whether there is an enemy in the direction that you're looking on the same level. And then you have to check all the enemies to see which one you've actually hit. So, and in the end, when you hit an enemy, when you hit an enemy, doesn't mean he's gone, right? Because they have health points. So when they die, then you get to there's no more enemy. So that's why this label is called no enemy. So first of all, we remove the enemy, which is gone. And then it just used to say spawn item, which is the function down here. We used to call JSR spawn item. Now this is changed. We generate a random number, which I talked about before. It's random because the Commodore doesn't really have a random generator, but it's random enough. We generate a number, and then we only look at the last 2 bits. That's why we AND it with 2. So those are the only bits that are 1 when you AND something with 2. So the rest is all zeroed out. You really put a mask on the number that's been generated and only look at the last 2. If the result of that equals 0, so if the random number ends in a 0, that's when we create an item. Otherwise, it's just shot done. And create an item is just the function here, spawn item and shot done. That's it. There are some other changes here. After you've checked, you have to check all the enemies, and this is the part where you check the next enemy. And when there's no more enemies and there's no enemy hit, you can just do shot continue otherwise. Well, this code has been rearranged, but the function is exactly the same. So this makes that when you shoot an enemy and you kill him, he may or may not generate a pickup. Now this is all done in spawn item, so go back to the video where that is handled. I don't remember, but which one that is, but you'll have to get that from the title, deduce it yourself. But it will pick an item at random, and it will do that some of the time. So gameplay wise, this is much more interesting. You kill something and you may or may not get I mean, it's a mechanic that we all have come to know and love, and this is the implementation of that. I think that's cool. Generate random number, yeah. Okay, well, that's something that we won't mention. Free slot found. Where is that? Spawn item. Oh, let's look at the spawn item function anyway. We've been there, we've done that, but there's a tiny change there. We generate a random number, and this used to say and with 1, so we only looked at the last bit. Now we look at the last, or at the first 3 bits. And then what? We store that in item active. Yes or no? Oh, okay. Oh, of course, because we have more items, we now have to generate a larger number. So we generate a number, we end with 3, so we are certain that we get an item number that at least exists, and that's what you create then, and then you have to draw it on the screen. I noticed that there was a typo. Not that that's important, but this said BMO. BMO is not a command, so I changed it to BMI, which is branch minus. One more thing, perhaps worth mentioning, behavior mummy. Now, all that I can imagine is that this is a setup for something that is about to come. The mummy right now, it just walks on a platform, it goes left and it goes right, and when it has the player in sight, it'll zoom towards him. The mummy does not fall off. Now, I double checked that because when you go, suppose that there's no player in sight, right? No player in sight. So I go to that declaration. Can we move? Bloody bloody blah. Yes, we can move. Bloody bloody blah. Move right. Bloody bloody blah. Object walk right. Now, object walk right, in this case, the mummy is the object. Object walk right, if we go there, it says walk object right if not blocked. Do not fall off. So we can either be blocked by something that is in the way, or we can reach the end of a platform. This guy, this function, checks whether or not we can move right, yes or no. So check can move right, can walk right, let's go. Can walk right, checks if the object can walk to the right, and it checks for the line that we're on plus 40, so that's exactly 1 lower. So we check whether there is a character blocking us right there, yes or no. So we actually already check whether or not we can walk off a platform, yes or no. So going back to behavior mummy, this code has been added. This code says object move down blocking. So this means that we're trying to pull the mummy down unless there's something blocking. If the function returns 0, then we're not falling. Otherwise, we are falling and we just jump out. So this is a setup for something that the mummy can probably fall or will fall or whatever. And we actually try to move him down, but object move down blocking. Let's see what that does. Move object down if not blocked. So I don't know how that would work, because when we're moving left and right, we are already checking whether or not we're about to step off a platform. Now, object move down unless we're blocking means that, well, when we first do that, we have to already be on a non-existing bit of platform. So I don't know exactly how this works. Maybe this is just a sanity thing, a sanity check, or because when you start the game, let's start the game, because I don't think we have any. No, we don't have any more code. So let's start the game. Let me make it a wee bit larger. So this is the player up here. Ooh. Now this is the mummy that we're talking about. And check what he does, you know. He turns around. He turns around at the end of the platform. So, oh shit. And he's going to do that here as well. So if there was a hole right here... Oh, I'm dead. If there was a hole, then he would stop there, wouldn't he? I mean, he wouldn't... If there was a hole in the platform where I am, he would just keep walking. Shoot him in the back. I wonder what he's going to give me. If he's going to give me anything. Ah, health. Oh. I was hoping I could show you more health. I need health. Oh. Oh. Yeah, on Commodore games it's common to have jump be be up, which is I don't like it, but there's only the one button, of course. Right. There. Okay, fast reload. Ah! My fast reload is gone. Now I can't show you. Oh. That's an extra bullet. Okay. Oh. These bats are half interesting, aren't they? Now, load. Damn. I hate those zombies. They just they disappear as soon as you hit them, but they don't die, and they take ages to. I mean, you can tell that you've hit them, but and I'd like to see, other than looking at my score going up, that I've hit the bat. Oh, invincibility. Let's go. See, we're invincible. We're flashing. See, I touched him. I didn't die. Now it's over. It's very short. And there's not much more time that we can add to that. Hey, he jumped. Look at that. It's gonna take ages. Let's go. No? Hello? Yay, fast reload. I could see it. Oh, see. Oh, I still have it. See that? Now it's back to normal. So it is. It's actually faster. Anyway, that's it for this episode. That was step 34. Adding new pickups, and we'll see you for the next one, step 35. Bye bye. Thanks for watching.